Next up in this tier, I think he's flex worthy. Hollywood Brown. It's just a matter of the offense. And I never really liked Hollywood Brown in like the wide receiver 2 or 3 range. But with Mahomes just being attached to him and knowing that he's a deep threat, knowing that he can do a lot more than just be a deep ball guy, I think Hollywood Brown belongs in here. Now, do I think he cracks 1,000 yards? This is where I start to probably question the 1,000-yard guys, is right around this range. But I do think that he could be like 1,005 if everything went well. He's only had one season over 800 yards, one. And that was his season where he had like 1,100, 1,200 yards. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities for Hollywood Brown, especially being with Pat. But that's where I'm giving him like the benefit of the doubt. The wide receiver 3 ceiling. I don't really see a wide receiver 2 ceiling here. And I do see a bit of a floor. If Xavier Worthy catches on, if Rashee Rice doesn't get suspended at all, I do think there could be a little bit of a floor. He's been injury prone in the past. So a lot at stake here with Hollywood Brown, who's dealt with foot injuries for a majority of his career. All right. Couple more players in this tier. Couple more. Someone who's kind of climbed up my board as of late, Deontay Johnson, could be doing a lot of the same thing that we were doing with Adam Thielen last year and just kind of disrespecting their draft spot. Deontay Johnson's had trouble staying on the field. He's had trouble with drops. But one thing that everybody loves about him is what? He gets open, right? So separation is what everybody goes to with Deontay Johnson. And they've been talking him up a lot. Brian Canales has been saying, that they want to get him the football. And obviously, he's going to be the main target, peppered with targets. We've seen Deontay Johnson get peppered with targets before. And it kind of ends up the same. Around 800 to 1,000 yards with about 4 to 6 touchdowns. Somewhere around the 80 catch marker because he struggles with drops. So could he get to 1,000 yards potentially in this offense? Yes. I also think Thielen will probably be more involved than we're leading on right now. Jonathan Mingles had a strong camp. Xavier Legette's also been showing out in camp. So, and we have to see Bryce Young make a significant leap as a pass thrower. So I like Deontay Johnson. He's a flex though. He's a flex. Flex him. Another receiver that everybody's going to say I have too low, Tank Dell. He's the clear 3 on this team. Doesn't have the touchdown upside. Doesn't have the receptions upside. And unless CJ Stroud throws for 5,000 yards, we're probably not getting a 1,000-yard season out of him, Nico Collins, and Diggs. So I think everybody's attached to the friendship that him and CJ have. You know what I'm saying? A little friendship they have. But to me, Tank Dell's a guy that's probably going to be more of a shot play kind of guy in this offense. So he's going to be an inconsistent flex, wide receiver 3, if you want to call him that, that's fine. But I think he's going to be flex worthy for the majority of this season. And then I think the last player I'm going to put in this tier, actually, that's it. That ends this tier. How y'all feel about this tier? You guys like that tier? There's a couple big names I'm leaving out of this tier that people really like. Jahan, you see that awful team someone sent in the Discord earlier? Nah, I didn't. I gave it an 8. I don't know what the team. Oh, you talking about the team with all top guys on it? These rookie guys are hard reaching on MHJ. Where do you like his value? So yeah, I think because he's a rookie, I put him at like a top 20 guy, and I don't think that's bad. A lot of people think that's bad though. I don't think it's bad. Looking at that way makes sense. It's just if you look at receivers, there's a lot of really good receivers. When you talk about like highs and lows. Oh, it was a joke. I didn't realize. I haven't seen. I got to take a look at that now. I got to take a look at it. I like the price on Terry, but dang, dude couldn't break out with a 4,000 yard. Yeah, he had a 4,000 yard passer, but it's like it's a different offense now too. Like Cliff Kingsbury is going to be different. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be different than Ron Rivera. They're going to be taking different types of shots. Yeah, I said Marshawn Lynch. My bad, bro. Marshawn Lloyd. I'm probably going to do that a lot this year. That'll be an easy one. Easy one for me to mess up. If there was no chance Rice gets suspended, where would you have him ranked? Probably right where I have him at. Maybe over Kirk. But for now, that's where I got him. It wouldn't be much higher because the other weapons. Now, if Hollywood Brown didn't sign there, if they didn't draft Xavier Worthy, maybe I put him a little bit higher. But if Arthur Smith ruined AJB London, what it can make Pickens. Arthur Smith didn't ruin A.J. Brown, did he? Health ruined A.J. Brown, but he didn't ruin A.J. Brown. He didn't ruin A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was looking solid there. I wouldn't say he ruined A.J. Brown. I just think he looks better in Philly. Reed got his revenge and beat me in the fantasy playoffs after I dropped him. Man, him and Rashee Rice, I wasn't high enough on those guys down the stretch. I should have been a lot higher on them, but I didn't see Jaden Reed being a top 10 guy down the stretch. Did you? Oh, obviously not if you dropped him. He was a guy, he was just showing out every week, it felt like. Why don't you think Kirk belongs in the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 tier? I talked about it a little bit. I could have put him up there, but it's more so showing like, do I think for sure Christian Kirk is like a 90 catch, 1,000-yard, 5-6 touchdown guy? Probably, but I don't know. I maybe could have thrown him right in that tier, but I just think he's more flex worthy than anything. And Trevor does spread the ball out. He's been pretty much like right on the dot when it comes to 4,000 yards every year. Maybe I could have put Kirk up there. It was debatable. I mean, that was the cutoff for me. Will Keon Coleman be a dart throw? You're going to find out about these dart throws right now. I could literally throw a lot of receivers here in this dart throw area. There's only a few left. I'll leave the ones out that I don't want to put in there. All right. Romo Dunze belongs here in the dart throws. A lot of people probably want to put him in the flex, but he's the third receiver on the team right now. Even though he's showing strong chemistry with Caleb, I want to see a little bit more out of Romo Dunze before I start to rank him higher over the talent that's going ahead of him. And being the third receiver in line, like obviously we're expecting a lot from DJ Moore. Unless you think Keenan Allen is just going to be trash, how much can we expect out of Caleb? If he throws for over 4,000, I'll be wrong on all three of them. But for now, I'm going to leave Romo Dunze down here in this category. Next up, we got Jordan Addison, who with Darnold, I think is going to look a lot better. JJ McCarthy's been showing out in camp. But if Darnold plays, I feel good about Jordan Addison at least being like potentially flex worthy or wide receiver 3 worthy on any given week. I just think he's going to serve us more as a dart throw in this category. I wouldn't automatically put him in the flex territory. That's where I got him. I think he's going to be really inconsistent this year and might have like kind of a second year. I wouldn't call it setback, but just not as good as he was in his second year. Next up in this tier, I do believe in Jameson Williams, and I think he plays a very similar role to what Jordan Addison does for his offense in this Lions offense. I can see him being a downfield guy, a guy that they get the ball over the middle, and maybe outproducing this, but I think 1,000 yards would be like the absolute best type season. I don't know if Goff's going to get to 2,000-yard receivers, but I do see Jameson Williams having a strong season and a nice bounce back. I think he belongs here. I think he belongs with these receivers, and he shows the upside of any one of those guys. Same thing as Christian Watson. These are a lot of upside plays, right? That do have some pretty bad floors if they don't pan out. But Christian Watson belongs here, and obviously he could go higher too. But I think what we've seen injury-wise out of Christian Watson and the fact that Romeo Doubs has kind of been servicing as the number 2 receiver, he belongs in here as well. Next up is Xavier Worthy, who has been playing really well in camp so far. They're taking a lot of deep shots. My concern is that you're not going to know when to start him. It'll probably feel like a Gabe Davis where they'll take shots downfield. They'll use him in other roles, but he'll be very inconsistent with his 3 to 4 catches a game. So that's my concern with Xavier Worthy. I think on a week-to-week basis, we'll have trouble starting him. But when we look back at the season, we might be like, damn, he put up wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 numbers. All right. Trying to find all my guys before we just go to the other ones. Brian Thomas belongs in this range, I think, tied to that offense. He should play a nice role if he develops. Obviously, we got to see if he develops, and that's why he's a dart throw. But a first-round pick going with Trevor Lawrence to play the Calvin Ridley role, I'd expect him to play well. And I think he might be a value too. Like, there's going to be a lot of people drafting him earlier than this. But if you can get Brian Thomas in a league, in your home league where they don't know the rookies, big body receiver, gonna be a problem at some point. I think it could happen as soon as this season. Next up, Cortland Sutton can go here too. And this all depends on quarterback play. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, assuming it's probably going to be Jarrett Stidham to start the year. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be ready, and I doubt that they throw Zach Wilson out there as a starter. I think Jarrett Stidham will get a chance to start, but Cortland Sutton has been pretty consistent as far as touchdowns that go, and he's been an 8 to 10 touchdown guy, somewhere around an 800 to 1,000-yard marker. So it's a nice dart throw, but he could very easily be replacing this offense buy a Marvin Mims, buy a Troy Franklin as his team goes throughout the season. So I think Cortland's the best guy there. It doesn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me to see him outside this range. All right, and then the last player I'm going to put in this tier, just because we kind of know who he is right now, is Tyler Lockett. I think Tyler Lockett belongs here. The only thing is, if he really does lose the role, then I would have to put him into the waivers. For now, I'm not sure the JSN role or his role and how good Gino's going to look in this offense. So for now, I'm going to put him at dart throws because he's proven he could be wide receiver 3 worthy most weeks. Like Tyler Lockett's been pretty consistent, even when we've had him down in the rankings. So for now, I'm going to put Tyler Lockett here in the dart throws, and that's just according to who's available here on this board. Some other names that are not here on this board, we got guys like Jacoby Myers is not on here. Keon Coleman is right here on this board. He belongs in this waiver category to me, though. No Gabe Davis. No Rashid Shaheed. So there's some names. Jerry Judy's not on here. Rashad Bateman's a guy like this not on here. But for this last tier, Adonai Mitchell's going to go on here. I think this is a waiver guy. I'm not going to order these guys in any one particular. I think Brandon Cooks is more of a safe player. Adonai Mitchell, AD Mitchell is going to be a little bit more of a, let me put him in order. I think AD Mitchell is going to be more of a dart throw. We've been seeing him catch a lot of stuff downfield from Anthony Richardson this offseason. Curtis Samuel goes in the safe player tier. He's a safe guy. Should see a lot of volume. I might put him in the dart throw. Actually, let's move him to the front of this tier. Let's move him right here. I think he's probably the safest waiver guy. A guy I like taking in drafts is like my wide receiver 6 or 7. I like taking Curtis Samuel. I think Keon Coleman can go up here as well, right alongside here. It all depends on who is the wide receiver 1 here. One of these receivers is going to end up in the wide receiver 3 range. Curtis Samuel or Keon Coleman. Or it might be a combination of them both as the season goes on. I also think Khalil Shakir gets involved, but Dalton Kincaid is going to probably, him and Curtis Samuel are probably going to be the guys that are used close to the line of scrimmage. Keon Coleman should be a threat, but he might be inconsistent this year. Lam McConkey can go up here, obviously, has been showing great rapport, could outproduce the spot, but we also haven't seen a lot of Joshua Palmer. Quinn Johnston's also been a name that Jim Harbaugh said he's going to be a problem, quote, we'll see if we believe it. And DJ Chark has earned a spot on the starting roster for now, starting lineup for now. So, obviously, a lot can happen this preseason. Lab McConkey can go here for now. I'm not buying a full Mike Williams bounce back, but paired up with Aaron Rodgers, I can't doubt him. He would be a name I like off of waivers. I'm just not really big on him this year. Dontavian Wicks, the community is really excited about. I'm not. He's the 4th guy. I only see Romeo Doubs on here. And then the last guy, Jahan Dotson, has some potential, but would need to show me a lot this year in order to be rostered. Those are the receivers. That's how I got it. What y'all think? Everyone thinks every receiver in Houston going to get 15. Yeah, that's – I don't get when you rank the players, how are all of them top 25 guys to you? Like Tank Dell goes top 25, Stephon Diggs goes top 25, and Nico goes top 25. How does that work? Unless CJ Stroud is 5,000 yards, how does that work? And even if that's 4,500 yards, if they all got 1,500, 1,300 yards, you still got Schultz, you still got Noah Brown, you still got John Mechie who's trying to make an impact, trying to make the roster, still got Joe Mixon out the backfield. And Stroud barely threw for 4,000 yards last year. Jay, and if the Caleb Williams struggles early, is the Bears offense fantasy-wise doomed? No, I don't think so, because I think there might be a point where we see Caleb on a stretch of games where we're like, oh, shit, this is why he was baby Pat Mahomes. So I think to expect that out the gate is wrong. I think I expect struggles, especially in Chicago. But, would it shock you at all? It wouldn't shock me at all if Caleb Williams is there was a stretch of games where he threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. I think we're going to see some of those games out of Caleb this year, especially with the talent around him. The hype around Houston is crazy. It'll be disappointing if Collins and Diggs blow this year. Yeah, I think it will be too, but I don't really see that. I think they put weapons around CJ. I think he's real. You think Ayuk and Debo will both finish ahead of Olave? Either Ayuk or Debo has to be the wide receiver 2 on their team, though. But they both were elite. They both have been elite. And both of those guys are top 15 guys. What was Olave last year? What did he finish? They both finished ahead of Olave last year. If I'm not mistaken. They both finished ahead of Olave. Am I tripping? Or they both finished ahead of Olave last year? Chris Olave was the wide receiver 16. Debo Samuel was Wide receiver 15. Brandon Ayuk was wide receiver 14. They both of them finished ahead of him last year. Is it really that crazy to say? Bo Nix can win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Hell no. Over Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison? Really? You just saying some shit to say it now, JSC. Lockett his toes, JSC will be better. I'm not. I subscribe to that. I think so. Caleb will be a bust? Nah. You don't think Lack can get target share over QJ and DJ Chark? It's not that he can't. It's Willie. And like I said, the offense, I don't think the offense is going to produce like 4,500 yards from Herbert. I think he's going to be dialed back this season. But, I mean, will he earn targets? Yeah. It's just at what rate, you know? And I think that DJ Chark and Quentin Johnson are going to have their opportunities. Now, if Vlad McConkey just outplays him and he's the number one, I'll be wrong. I've been wrong before. That's just he's a guy that I see as more of a complementary piece and like a main piece to that offense. You know what I mean? That's where I got him. So if he was like 750 yards and like 4 or 5 touchdowns, yeah, I think that's a really good season for Vlad McConkey. He's going as a top like 35 guy right now, which is crazy to me. He was in the top 100. On Sleeper right now, Vlad McConkey's in the top 100.